Hello, Gia Stark here, Clinic and Sites Manager for the Masters in Counseling Psychology Field Placement at CIS. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a guided exercise to craft your clinical resume to apply for practicum sites. Some things that I hear quite often from students as we're working together to craft a clinical resume are, I've never worked in the mental health field before, or how can I craft a clinical resume when all of my experience is from the corporate world? So most practicum sites don't expect you to already have clinical experience. That's why you're in graduate school and you're studying counseling psychology. You're being trained to be a therapist. Even coming from the corporate world or the tech sector or some other non-related field, I can guarantee that you worked with people, and that's what you'll be doing as a therapist, just with a different focus. So in this guided exercise, I'll be showing you how to incorporate a clinical lens to the languaging in your resume. Okay, so let's begin by getting a piece of paper, and we're going to fold it down the middle like this. I do suggest to do this by hand rather than typing it. So we have two columns here, and we're going to list out all of the attributes of a great or a good enough therapist using bullet points. On the left-hand column, we're going to list out all of the clinical skills of a great or good enough therapist. And on the right-hand column, we're going to list out all of the administrative tasks of a great or good enough therapist. So go ahead and click pause while you're working on your list, and then when you have your list of clinical skills and administrative skills, resume the video and I will share with you what's on my list. Welcome back. So here is my list of clinical skills and administrative skills. I typed them out so it's a little bit easier for you to read. Some of the ones that I want to highlight are warm and inviting, adheres to ethical standards, and sets firm and appropriate boundaries. For the administrative skills side, some that I want to highlight for you are punctual and on time, adheres to legal standards, and informative website. So looking over your list and taking a look at my list, are there any bullet points that you already know how to do or that you've done in other positions? Identify those bullet points and mark them because we're going to incorporate them into your clinical resume. So now that we've brainstormed some bullet points and we've got our brains in gear for clinical language, I'm going to go over some resume tips for you to help translate your skills into clinical and therapeutic language. So first, let's start with your education. Your education here at CIS is going to open the door for you to your practicum sites. So make sure you have the following elements listed: the school, the city, and the location, that you're getting an MA in counseling psychology with an emphasis on, and this is whatever program you're in, integral counseling psychology, expressive arts, community mental health. Also list your expected graduation date, the month and the year. Keep your formatting consistent. This is just an example of one way that you could list out each position. You don't have to use this, but whatever way you do use, make sure it's the same all the way throughout. So this part right here is probably the most important part for the clinical resume. For each bullet point of the job responsibilities that you have, you're going to state what you did and how you did it. And it's the how you did it part where we can start to incorporate the clinical language. So let's say you created a marketing strategy for a company. You would say one way that you did it was by seeking input from stakeholders. Or maybe you were working in the financial sector. Maybe this is where you say that you adhered to legal standards. Make sure that you use chronological order with the most recent first, and try not to include experiences and positions that are more than 10 years old. and your resume should be 1 to 2 pages only. The next page of this module has some templates that you can use for a resume, as well as an example of a resume and a curriculum vitae. Crafting your clinical resume is going to take several tries, so be patient with the process and reach out if you need support. You can get support from the MCP Field Placement, Center for Writing and Scholarship, or Career Development.